Welcome to Vacuum Wars, and to our new series called Air Purifier Wars. This week we're comparing the Coway Air Mega AP1512HH and the Winix 5500-2. We put both of these best-selling air purifiers to an all-new series of tests this week, and the results were pretty interesting. First, the basics. Both of these air purifiers are very similar. For example, they are in a similar price range. They both have similar official room size ratings. They both use similar methods for purifying air. That is, they both use a HEPA filter for particulate filtration in combination with a carbon filter for eliminating smells, gases, and VOCs. They also both have ionization capability, which can help reduce molecular-sized contaminants, which can be turned on or off with both units. Starting off with the features category, these are things that might not help with air purification, but can improve your experience. For example, they both have one of my favorite features, which is a built-in particle sensor. This means that they can detect how dirty your air is at any given time, and it makes possible other useful features like air quality lights that will change color depending on how dirty the air is, a feature which they both have. The particle sensor also allows for an auto mode on both units, where they will automatically adjust the fan speed up or down depending on how dirty the air is. They both have timers, but only the Winix has a sleep mode, which uses a lower fan speed at night. The Winix is also the only one with a remote control. I also include their size in the features category, and they are very similar in size in terms of cubic inches, though the Winix is a bit taller. So, though the features score was very close, the Winix leads the Coway after one round. The next round is filter quality, and here they have the same sized HEPA filters, about 200 cubic inches on the Winix to 195 on the Coway, and they're rated about the same at 0.3 microns. They both had carbon filters. These are the filters that catch gases and odors and volatile organic compounds, and though the size of the carbon filters were about the same, the quality of the carbon filter was much better on the Winix, which used a large amount of genuine charcoal pieces, compared to the Coway, which used a mesh-type carbon filter, which simply has been treated with activated carbon. This does make a difference, as we will see in the VOC tests later on. So the Winix also wins this round because of that higher quality carbon filter. Next we have the bench tests, where we measure their airflow and noise levels. Here the most interesting thing was the massive difference in airflow, where the Coway processed air much faster at 108 CFM on max power, which is almost as good as the IQ Air, which is an air purifier almost 6 times the price of the Coway, and it's more than double the air being moved on the Winix at only 41 CFM. Since these two have very similar motor sizes, the difference in their airflow is probably explained by the Winix having to pull the air through that much denser carbon filter, which no doubt slows it down some. Noise level is very important for air purifiers, and though they were both relatively quiet, the Coway had more airflow per decibel than the Winix, and by a pretty good amount. For example, when they were both on the setting that I would most likely use at my house, which in this case is their 49 decibel setting, the Coway is putting out 37 CFM to the Winix only putting out 21 CFM. So the Coway wins the bench test round, and by a pretty good margin. Moving on to the filtration tests, in the fog test, where we release 12 seconds of fog into a ventless room and run the air purifier on max power, it took the Coway Air Mega 39 minutes to clear the fog back to the baseline compared to 52 minutes on the Winix. We expected this speed difference given the airflow scores from earlier. If you're wondering, it takes about 150 minutes to return to the baseline in this room if there is no air purifier running. Also, in the fog particles reduced per minute test, where we measure the speed of reduction of particles from peak to baseline, the Coway was also significantly faster. However, with the total volatile organic compound test, where we burn incense in the same ventless room and measure TVOC particles reduced per minute from peak to trough, as well as an overall baseline to baseline reduction speed test, the Winix was the winner in both cases. And I think it's safe to say that the reason the Winix won in these tests is because of its superior carbon filter. Nevertheless, the Coway ended up winning the filtration test category overall, despite not being as good as the Winix at VOC reduction, because of the Coway's amazing speed with particle reduction. I also consider their filter replacement costs, which were really similar and fairly low priced on both units. So after adding all these scores up, the winner is the Coway Air Mega, which just barely beat out the Winix 5500 75 to 71. But I really do think it comes down to what you need. If you're wanting to mostly clear particles from your air and you want to do that fast and efficiently, you probably can't do much better than the Coway for the price. But if you're wanting this more for odors and gases and smoke and such, then the Winix is probably what you would want. And it's also very reasonably priced for what you get. Links in the description, and be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you leave. Thanks for watching.